Hello, good evening. Thanks for joining us. The practice of transparency and accountability, apart from being part of the NNPC's 12 business focus areas, has endured. And so when the issue came up for clarifications about the alleged $3.5 billion petroleum cost under recovery and petroleum support fund applications, the NNPC finds it very much up its alley. By way of information, the NNPC does not operate any $3.5 billion petroleum support funds, which is what the Senate is seeking to clarify by way of documentation. There are quite a lot of records meticulously put together by the NNPC having to do with solving challenges emanating from the 145 Naira approved pump price cap for PMS and the mandate to do all it takes to flush the fuel queues arising from the fuel supply crisis in January 2018, etc. This package is very deep about the details concerning the issues. Thanks for joining us. I'm Akin Agbejile. This is Oil and Gas Forum.
And let me conclude by thanking the management of the NNPC under Dr. Barrow. I just read some where you said that the NNPC had concluded arrangements to establish some medical centers in the country. Here you have my total support, and I thank you for this initiative.
No panic to buy fuel for black market. NNPC go bring fuel for all motorists.
NNPC say them get fuel jabrata for ground. Saboteur. All of una wey dey tiff with fuel and petroleum station where they hot smuggle and divert our fuel go neighboring country. Plus people where they build small tank and sell fuel past our government price of 145 naira per liter. Stop am o. Because why? Now big offense now. Now jail straight away. NNPC say our government no increase fuel price. Now still 145 naira per liter. So therefore no buy black market, no do panic buying. Enough fuel there we go round. Nigerians, if you see any petrol station where they sell fuel past our government price of 145 naira per liter, kia report to the nearest security agency when near you or the Department of Petroleum Resources. Na Ndu Ohamadu, Group General Manager, Group Public Affairs Division, NNPC, sign this message.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, has clarified that it does not operate any $3.5 billion petroleum subsidy funds, saying it was fully aware that there was no provision for subsidy in the Appropriation Act since 2016. The Senate leader and ad hoc committee chairman, Ahmed Lawa, said the session was to ensure more collaborative parley between the executive and the legislature to make life more comfortable for Nigerians.
That between the executive and the legislature is cooperation, partnership, consultation, and indeed working to ensure that Nigerians have a better life, have an improved life. We all know that the essence of any government is to provide security and welfare to the people. So what we do here is, in a sense, trying to ensure that public funds utilized or to be utilized are used in such a manner that Nigerians get better in terms of providing fuel, particularly PMS that we are going to be talking about.
Other senators who are members of the committee have these to say.
What do you normally do with that dividend? Because that will also show us what, if it's really a subsidy or not, because then there is another sector that is suffering.
But when we come to the issue of $1.05 billion, which is for augmentation, augmentation comes in when there is a shortfall. And when there is a shortfall, that means somebody has to pay for it. And when you pay for that, it means something has been subsidized. And that shows that something has been taken care of on behalf
or maybe all of us.
Group Managing Director of the corporation, Dr. Meikante Barrow, made the submission during a Senate ad hoc committee session investigating this purported utilization of a $3.5 billion petroleum subsidy support fund.
May wish to note that NNPC does not operate any $3.5 billion petroleum subsidy funds as alleged. There is no provision for subsidy in the Appropriation Act since 2016. So it will be illegal for NNPC to operate any account on subsidies. However, the committee may recall that since September 2017, the 145 naira per liter approved retail pump price cap for petroleum motor spirit, PMS or petrol, has become less than the open market price of imported PMS. As a result of that, the oil marketing companies, who accounted about 30% of the PMS supply into the country, withdrew from importation since October 2017.
The NLNG dividend, is it isolated from the investment of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? I think we have equity shares as a country in that. I need to know, and I think we need to know whether it is isolated or is it private funding which does not involve any investment from the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
$1.05 billion, what it's been used for. If you have maybe some documents or some evidence, something, so that when you're submitting to the committee, you can include it as well.
The NNPC is utilizing $1.05 billion from the NLNG dividends fund to finance the additional PMS requirements in augmenting the DSDP supply. This $1.05 billion is being administered under a steering committee, that is the highest approving body, that was set up, and a working committee that is looking at daily operations of this fund.
What is our average consumption? There has been argument, disputes by many Nigerians on our consumption of PMS daily or monthly. What amount do we import and what amount goes out of Nigeria, if possible, through our borders? That doesn't like 3.5, we are talking about 1.05 billion. And you provide the details for the expenditure of 1.5 billion.
I mean, take these expenditures. Let it be that they are appropriated. That's the point we want to try to make. Because the law says that every kobo that has to be spent has to be appropriated by the National Assembly. That is what the law says. But you two have reeled out what the NNPC Act says, that your own cost, has to be, offset by, by your own rule. What determines your cost? How do we determine it?
Explain more about this under recovery
so that we can clear this subsidy and these tenants. And then number two, you didn't answer the average consumption of fuel per day.
An immediate injection of 675 million liters of PMS, that's 15 cargoes in January 2018. In addition to the 1.4 billion liters that would have supplied through our direct sales, direct purchase arrangement for the month of January that are already planned. For the month of February, we are also to do the same, to inject a further 675 million liters of PMS, or 15 cargoes, in addition to 32 cargoes, or 1.45 billion liters of PMS in February. A further injection to stabilize the supply of 273 million liters each for the month of March and April, in addition to planned direct sales direct purchase supply of 1.15 billion liters in each of those months. The subsequent panic buying, diversions by players in the industry, and in fact even smuggling during the crisis resulted in significant depletion of the national PMS reserve. We normally try to maintain a 30 days sufficiency so that if there is no production from the refineries or importation, the country should be able to survive or meet its PMS requirement for 30 days. However, due to those activities, our sufficiency dropped significantly to 14 days, and by the 19th of January 2018. NNPC will continue to guarantee the energy security to the nation by maintaining sufficient PMS supply at the approved pump price of 145 naira per litre, except directed otherwise. NNPC does not operate any $3.5 billion petroleum subsidy funds as alleged, as there is no provision for subsidy in the Appropriation Act. That the NNPC is utilizing $1.05 billion from the LNG dividends to purchase the additional PMS required to augment the SDP supply in line with the provisions of his Act, Section 7, Subsection 4B, that mandates NNPC to defray its costs from its revenues of operations, one of which, of course, is the Nigerian LNG dividends, for which NNPC is the shareholder.
Providing further explanation, the Chief Financial Officer of the NNPC, Isiaka Abdulrazak, said the $1.05 billion fund was used to augment the Direct Sale Direct Purchase DSDP petroleum supply scheme.
Nobody said private sector can bring in products. Even as of today, they are welcome to bring in products, PMS. However, it's economics. Nobody will bring this product because he knows if he brings it in, he's going to make a loss. So that, I think, is a basic factor that we all know. And that's why we're in this situation of cost under recovery. So what did we do? We said, okay, in view of this nature, in view of the challenge we have, we must bring in adequate products to the country. And we know we're going to land it at a cost which will be higher than we can sell to make a profit. It's going to be a loss situation. So the first thing we focused on is governance. we actually set up what we call a steering committee. The steering committee made up of Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Petroleum Resources, Accountant General of the Federation, Central Bank, PPPRA, PEF, and DPR. They, as the governing body, have their clear rules, which is to give support, give policy advice, supervise the process, and approve the process. Then we have a working committee under them who meet almost on a weekly basis. And the same entities I mentioned, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Petroleum Resources, AGF's office, NNPC, CBN, PPPRA, PEF, as well as DPR, have members in this working committee. And they are the ones that sit down, they make projection about the fuel supply demand in the country, the projection into the future. They make projections as to when should we come in with the products, because we understand that energy security is national security. Nobody's going to mess with that. So all the members of this working committee understands this. So they are in charge of the process for the procurement of bringing out the products, as well as the process to check that the products have come into the country and the distribution.
Hello and welcome to another eye-opening segment of the program. I am Julia Auta. Since October 2017, when the Major Oil Marketers Association of Nigeria (MOMAN) and other marketers withdrew from the importation of petroleum products, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC), the supplier of last resort, has kept the nation wet with petroleum products. On this episode, we sought to know why the marketers are not importing petroleum products into the country.
The landing cost of payments now, petrol, is around about 2 naira per litre. And since payments is being sold at 145 government-approved price, so there's no way marketers can import, because nobody is going to reimburse them for the differential, which is about 65 naira per litre. So that's the main reason why marketers cannot import. Because they can't import and the cost is 202 or 205, and now I expect them to sell at 145. That's why it's only NNPC that can bring in the products to the country.
What I was meant to understand with my interaction with some of the marketers was that as a result of the higher price in importation that involves in importation and what's not, that whenever they import, instead of them getting it to land in Nigeria at about 145 naira, most of the time what the product they bring in usually gets into the country at about 200 naira. So they always run at a loss.
Fuel subsidy problem led to the decision of the present administration that only NNPC should import, who will later now distribute internally.
They're actually doing a good job, but I think they're putting the marketers out of market and they're not getting anything from it. So I think they should actually distribute the whole thing so marketers could actually have something for themselves.
Whether they are no longer importing or they're importing, but one thing is that product is available in the country.
As a responsible and responsive national oil company, the NNPC is resolute on ensuring that the energy needs of the country are met for energy security. And that's about the size of the segment. Please don't go away.
Hello, good to have you join us in another informative segment of the program. I am Abigail Ojobo. Did you know that the Direct Sale Direct Purchase DSDP arrangement, which was introduced in 2016, is a model carried out through direct sales of crude oil to refiners or consultants who in turn supply NNPC with equivalent worth of products? Did you know that as part of measures to sustain the robust supply of petroleum products across the country, and especially going into the Yuletide and beyond, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) has signed a 6-month direct sale direct purchase DSDP agreement with the BP trading arm. BP Oil International Limited for the supply of premium motor spirit, also known as petrol? Did you also know that this latest agreement will represent 20% of NNPC's total PMS supply under the DSDP arrangement, which basically allows the corporation to exchange crude oil with international oil traders for imported petroleum products over a period of time? Did you know that this partnership makes it a perfect fit for the corporation's plan to ensure that there is adequate supply of products throughout the coming Yuletide and even beyond the election period? Did you also know that since its inception, the DSDP model has not only saved NNPC millions, but has also proven to be a major component of the corporation's petroleum product supply portfolio, which ensures stability in product supply nationwide? Now you know. Please don't go away. The rest of the program continues.
Oil edged lower Friday, surrendering early gains as investors focused on the pace of growth in global crude supply, which is increasing more quickly than many had expected. Brent crude futures fell 21 cents to $71.86 per barrel, having touched a session high of $73.08, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate WTI crude futures fell 8 cents to $61.59. Chinese data earlier in the day showed record oil imports in October offered some temporary respite to bearishness that has developed in the past couple of weeks over the expected crude market balance in 2019. Record U.S. crude productions and signals from Iraq, Abu Dhabi, and Indonesia that output will grow more quickly than expected in 2019 pushed the price of Brent oil to its lowest since mid-August. China's crude imports rose 32% in October compared with a year earlier to 9.61 million barrels per day, customs data showed. China will still be allowed to import some Iranian crude under a waiver to a U.S. sanctions that will enable it to buy 360,000 barrels per day of crude from Iran for 180 days, two sources familiar with the matter said. U.S. output, meanwhile, reached a new record high of 11.6 million barrels per day in the latest week and has now overtaken Russia as the world's largest oil producer. The Energy Information Administration said it expects output to top 12 million barrels per day by the middle of 2019, thanks to shale oil. And that's about the size of crude oil outlook on this edition of the program. I am Solomon Diopave.
That we have industrial peace in the oil and gas. NNPC contributes a lot. They stay with us through the night of conciliations, mediation, and everything, you know, and they support us in every way. So the Ministry of Labor appreciates you.
That's been Oil and Gas Forum for this week. We have all the details and all the records and all the numbers about the issues, contentious, but then having provided all the details, now you know. Enjoy the new week. Let's see you next week. Bye.